Welcome to yet another episode of Shifting the Paradigm with Lesapore. It's the golden guy, Gauteng native, executive. I mean, man, we had to just come back and bring it to life again. I think it's been a while since we've started working, but you know what they say, great things take time. And I think that's why I'm with this special guest today. I think she's one of the people that dragged everything because I had to persuade her to come and be comfortable and just be open, to just share her life experiences, her growth and, her life journey, which is what makes us as people. So I'd like to introduce you, Naledi. May please just tell our guests who are you and where are you from and what are you about?
Hi guys, I am Naledi Mokoena and I am originally from Alberton. I went to Albertview and then I went to Marais-Foulin and I went to a different high school, which was this guy's, the simplest high school, Agriris. But I lived in 8 different places, so I've explored, Boksburg, Springs, Drakenhurst, South Hills. I guess that's just who I am.
How would you say you being so, I don't know, I would say versatility or just living everywhere, your geolocation and moving around. How do you think that has, shaped you as a person? Maybe, influenced your perception on certain things? Because when you live in a certain place and you just know this and not anything else. What would you say? How did it shape Naledi in a way?
It shaped me in various ways. I mean, I've been exposed to so many things. I've realized that certain people in a specific place have a particular mindset, and I've just explored, and with living in different places. I don't know, I've just had more expectations of what I can do in life, because other people, they live in a certain area and they think that this is the only thing that they can achieve. But living in different places, I know oh no, I can achieve more, I can get this type of thing, just a broader, limitless perspective on life.
Okay, so in all that mess, of you just moving around, making things work, now you're growing at the same time. It's high school, it's now varsity. So how would you say was your transition from adolescence to actually now being a fully fledged adult? I think most of us don't want to come and admit to that, but that's really the reality at this point. How would you say your transition was? Were you a real problematic kid growing up, and how's just the landscape of that?
I mean, the transition for me was very humbling.
For real?
It was really humbling. I was someone who always felt entitled, to certain things. I always thought that my parents should or must do this for me. And in order for me to, get certain things that I want, it was expectations that okay, but I expect this person to at least help me get there, But life humbled me, it humbled me seriously, it humbled me badly. And I was always a person who was, I don't know, I just loved to explore different things. I wasn't a fully focused, academic, serious student. In fact, in grade 11, I was grade 11 or 10, I was just having thoughts of dropping out, to be honest. I know it's crazy, right? I just felt no man, school, man. And plus, I also had a phase in my life where I was reading a lot of books. Now, I don't know if you've heard of Napoleon Hill. I would read a lot of Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich, and also just having parents who have been entrepreneurs. I was thinking, no man, I'm gonna waste how many years in university? I could do this, I could start that. But then with the circumstances I was in, I just felt things were just like I was moving different places. I went to, here in Val, and I was confused, and I felt that maybe the only way for me to like get out, I think it made sense in matric. I was like, I need to take school seriously, and I actually have an opportunity to go to university and still find myself, just like buy time and find myself in university. And so that transition, I was still a bit like entitled still, like my first year, I still expected, like I am NSFAS funded, but then it was a thing of like, I expected my dad to still give me money, and he would give me money, he would, take care of certain things, he would pick me up when I wanted to. And so, I don't know, things changed drastically, and I realized I'm like, okay, when my parents could not help me anymore, and I was just like alone, I was stuck in like my whole world, or the fairy tale lifestyle I was living, kind of just got destroyed, and I was brought to reality. And it just, it helped me like see life for what it really is. And now I just know I'm at a place in my life where I know I can only save myself type of thing. And also just being in the industry of real estate, corporate, working with, what is this, baby boomers, like the older generations, having contact with them, people who own houses, doing stuff like cold calling, handling rejection, like all of that just shaped me into the person I am now. Get me?
I like how you just summed it all up. It's very fruitful, very engaging, and I think what I'm hearing from what you're saying is that from this, whole fairy tale around, entitlement, you're starting to like work your way up to just, just some sort of independence in your life, which is actually, it's inspiring, because I think a lot of females, not to make generalizations, we're being realistic, we're a real podcast and we speak real things. I feel like they can't escape that, and it catches up with them, in the long term. So yeah, with me just highlighting that, and the influence that entitlement has on female or daughters, ladies, what would you think, what major impact do you think it could actually play in actually a person's life going left or going right? Because there's no right or wrong,
Yeah, there's
as
no,
my producer likes to say. But yeah, so like, what do you think, what major impact could entitlement play throughout the growth of a girl's life?
Sure, dude, like it could like destroy you, right? Because I was on that path of like destruction. I just realized that in life there's two types of pains, right? Like there's a pain that actually like, helps you grow, and then there's that pain that like almost kind of like destroys you.
Sure.
So it was always a thing of, because I don't know how to explain it, but it was the experience that enlightened me. People can give you advice, people could tell you, no. I think one of our principals did mention that like, guys, don't go out there and feel entitled and go into the real world. Like people could try and prevent and stop you from thinking a certain way, but I think experience, like yes, the wise people will learn, but for me, I just had to go through it to understand. And even now I like to let people just explore, like make mistakes, and that trauma will just like help you navigate life in the best way as possible. But I think also you mentioned something about girls, right? I have a father figure in my life, right? I've spoke to many girls, and I've just realized that having a father figure in my life has also contributed to where I am in the way that I think. Most girls, especially the ones that I know, they don't have father figures, and so that like severely like impacts them, because they do crave like masculine energy, affection, love, and validation, right? So even girls that sell themselves, because it's tough out here financially for most girls, right? Even girls that sell themselves, for money, and like, we live in varsity, we see these things, we see these things, and the girlfriend allowance thing. Like it's very hard for me to criticize these girls because my father, he validates me in every way. Like he will tell me, oh Naledi, you look good, Naledi, you're the best. Even during the phases of my life, like from transitioning, he would tell me that, like, look, what are you doing? Don't like depend on a man. What are you doing to contribute to, your future family, the life that you want to build? Don't think of a man. Even like my other fathers, right? Like they'll tell me, what are you doing? And it just gave me that validation that I need. And so for most girls, like, yo, dude, it's so hard for me to criticize because they feel like, no, men are supposed to do this. Men are supposed to give me a girlfriend allowance type of thing. And so it's a very tough one to navigate. Like men having no father figure can really like affect a girl's growth.
I'm actually really learning a lot, and I just also hope that the ladies watching, even the bros, that you just like, actually, take into consideration of those, that picture, that whole, background and so forth. But yeah, how do you think also, that we live in South Africa?
Yes.
And hey, to be honest, it's quite shameful as a guy even speaking about this, because I feel like this whole, movement or this whole occurrences that have been happening in our country have actually given a bad rep to men. There are some good men out there, I'm not gonna lie, So what's your take on GBV, gender-based violence and femicide? Also including the kids, because they also face a lot when it comes to this topic. So especially from a lady's perspective.
No, like I love that topic. It's a lot. Because as for someone who loves watching, Moja Love, you watch all these shows. I don't know, have you ever heard of
Moja Love? Hey, Moja Love.
Moja Love has all those stories, dude. Like it shows you exactly what's going on in South Africa. And then there's a particular show, like what's this? Yes,
Shout out to Moja Love, by the way, man. It's an SA produced, broadcasting, platform.
And so I've just heard a lot of stories. In fact, I've also seen people that I know, like on the show.
Hey, you guys are going through, okay?
I've even seen people that I know going on the show. And I mean, like this, you just see in South Africa, there's a lot of men, abusing women, and also women who abuse men. And it's even worse now. I feel like it's not only just gender-based violence, but also just like they can abuse your spirituality in a sense of like they can use witchcraft to manipulate you, like that and all those things. That story of that 31-year-old lady that turned into
Hey, there's a lot going on in
There's a lot going on. And so my take on GBV, oh man, I think maybe the core reason for it, I personally think it's mental. I think everything starts in the mind. So just like educating people and also just like therapy, I don't know, but like us black people, I don't know, most black people don't believe in therapy, but those people are damaged in their mind. Like for you to beat someone or to behave in a way that is just not right, there's something not okay with your mind, so I think it's mental.
I feel like it's a mental issue rather than it being all these other factors that have been, propagated out there.
I think it all starts in the mind. Like, yes, other factors could like impact it, but it's always in the mind. And that's just the reaction. I feel like the abuse is just like a reaction of what's actually what's happening upstairs, type of thing. And then there's obviously certain things we can't control. We can't always change everyone. So I would say maybe the government could enforce maybe more stricter laws. They could enforce more stricter laws on this GBV thing, because it's so unacceptable that we are one of like the highest.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, and it's sad. You know, it's sad. But I think just enforcing stricter laws, bringing awareness, educating, and also just people going to therapy, I think it could kind of like reduce it. You know. That's my take.
Yeah, hey, I like how you highlighted also the concept of therapy, and in your statement or take on GBV. Like, I think, to be honest, I always, this my close person, we always speak about this, and yeah, she always like just puts me under that thing of, I'm also one of those people that are resistant in a way to open myself up to therapy. Why do you think people, because I think it's a lot of us, it's not only me, why do you think people are just so closed or closed off to a point whereby they feel like they're not going to get help, or they feel like they can help themselves? Why do you think that's the case in a way? Yeah.
Yes, I also used to struggle with that, like I was also feeling like, I don't want to open up, I don't want to be vulnerable, because people can definitely use that against you. I also just I had that fear, but there was this one person, I don't want to expose this person, right? I don't want to expose this person. It's someone very close to me, it's a female, right? Someone very close to me. I don't want to expose her, but she loves going to therapy, and I'm like, no man, I don't like this thing and whatever. But until the topic of suicide came up, right? And like, sure, this really just changed my whole, perspective or outlook on therapy. And that certain people, when you're in your mind too much, right? You could overthink certain things and like have a tunnel vision of like how things are going to end or how things are going to be. But when you actually put yourself out there and you speak about it, another person could help change that, and maybe enlighten me with how you can go about that situation. For example, when that particular girl was opening up to me, feeling like she just wants to unalive herself, she feels like lonely, she feels depressed, she's in a different world, and because I really love that person, I just realized, I'm like, no man, I was just so grateful that she was able to open up to me, and she has like a therapist who's always like checking in and whatever. And what these people do for you is like they just break down the matter, they show you a different way and outlook and the possibilities and how it could actually be something for you and not against you. So I'm very like open to that. I think people who keep things inside, it's very dangerous because it could lead to suicide. So opening up, being vulnerable, people, like, how are you going to expect to get help if you don't say anything? You need to speak up. And even most people who I know have committed suicide, it's like the similar thing. People don't really know why. You just kept it in, but perhaps if you said something to someone, things could have ended differently.
But also I think with the issue of opening up, I think maybe therapists, especially in our generation, and so on. So yeah, people also, I think, have realized that they afraid to open up, maybe even close friends and stuff, because they just have, an insecurity that, we'll share, or, you spread it out with the next person and expose their, lives and, privacy like that. So I get it, but you saying that, therapy actually helps you bridge the gap between your feelings and where you actually would want to be. Basically kind of draws you out from that dark place. I think it's a real thing, especially in this society that facing a lot of issues and stuff like that. I think it's a very viable solution to, growing up and adult life particularly, because what I've realized, it's a lot this side. It's a lot. It's really a lot. But yeah, so what are you doing in your course, and what are you specializing in? What brought you to NW?
So what actually brought me to NW? I don't know. For me, it was just everything just happened. I never necessarily planned to be here or to be in any institution. Just like everything just seemed to align for me.
Okay.
I ended up here. I applied for like different things, and it just, I want to say I magically ended up here, but I was like, okay, NW accepted me, I'm just gonna go for it. I didn't even know what course I was doing. I was like, okay, BCom, I didn't even know what it was. Until, my first year, I started to, explore and to see what's happening. And even before that, during that phase, my parents started a company. Like when I moved here in Val a few years ago, and my parents started a real estate firm. It was very, very new. The first year was when I was in matric, like the first year of running the company. So I had to grow up very fast, in a sense of after writing our finals in matric, I was already in the office doing cold calling. I did not have a break. I did not have that time to be like, okay, I'm finally done with high school. I'm gonna have I was already in corporate. Cold calling, learning certain systems and stuff. And then a few months later, I'm going to, Northwest University. And so just that whole journey of I think my first 2 years, I was mostly focused on my academics and still trying to balance real estate, but it's very tough because real estate needs someone who is constantly there. But I was just trying to balance things out, and also having my mom is also a proper entrepreneur. She's starting with new things, and I'm trying to support her. So my whole life has just been it's just never been balanced in that sense. And I'm also a person that loves going to church. My parents are all church people. So during the weekends, certain weekends, I was never at rest. I'm always out there with my parents. We're always busy. It's hectic. And I think during the end of last year, I just wanted to start my own thing, right? I was like, what business or something that I could do, I want to start, I want to test this entrepreneurial things. Yes, my parents have given me an opportunity to explore and, grow in the corporate world and in sales. However, I want to try something on my own, right? And so I would just reach out to, before I even started anything, I would reach out to one of the people on market groups and whatever who are selling. There was this particular guy, he was so consistent and whatever, and I just reached out to him, and he told me more of how this business thing works. You could try this, you could try that. Then I just saw a gap in the market with hair extensions. I'm there's people not really selling hair extensions here at school, and it's also something I was struggling to source for myself. And so this year I invested into buying stock. I buy my stock somewhere in Joburg for really good prices. And I've just been starting my own thing, distributing here. And I almost felt I got a head start because I already understand sales. I already understand how customers are and what type of systems I'm supposed to set for myself. And then I think also one of the biggest things I wanted to take from university was networking. So also just building strong relationships.
Yeah.
And now I'm at a place where I have like mentors, you know, yeah, mentors, people guiding me here and there, like Naledi, you know, do this, do that, and also like good friendships with, you know, people who are doing great in life. Yeah.
That's really nice. I like how how you're using varsity as like a foundation for where you want to be. You know, a lot of us, I think, obviously, you know, we have different perceptions of this, but most people will be like, you know what, I just want to get the degree and maybe do my postgrad studies and head to, you know, the workplace or corporate, you know, however you can try to put. So I like how, you know, you're this young lady that's just now just trying to also cultivate some sort of entrepreneurship life, you know, for herself, despite, you know, having a degree and potentially, you know, you could also be part of the crew and just go and, you know, set up a CV and go to. So that's really nice. And how is it working in, you know, yeah, how is it working within like a family business? How is it like? How? What are the dynamics and stuff like that? How is the picture in terms of that?
Yes, it's challenging, right? But in a very good way. Because in a sense of I realized what freedom is. You know, most of us, because even before my parents were like entrepreneurs and stuff, they were like 9 to 5 type of people.
Okay.
You know, like my dad especially, because my mom was like a housewife for like 10 years or so, which I'm very grateful for. And like my dad, I just never knew my dad like that. You know, we'd come home late, sometimes it would be like late shifts and etc. And you just like, it was a very structured like life, like 9 to 5 type of life. However, once they started running businesses, particularly this one, I just felt a sense of like freedom, right? I could just come to my parents' office whenever. My parents could close the office whenever, like if they feel like go today, I'm like, I'm tired. Yeah. You know, it is just freedom. My dad could pick me up anytime. When I need him, you know, my dad's he's there for me, my mom's there for me. However, that freedom does come with a price. You know, you do have to pay the price for that freedom. It's you know, taking the risk of, you know, I'm very grateful for my dad for taking the risk to build like a proper empire for his family.
Shut up.
Yes, you have to like this thing that I've read in this book that I read a few months ago.
Read a
The
lot,
principle.
People don't read. Right? I was with Cabello Mahangi this other time. You know, was one of. It's just also emphasizing on that people really don't read, and it's really becoming a problem. You know.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's actually a good quality. I think you'll be happy to see that I brought on a guest that actually reads, because hey, he's a big lover of books. But yeah, that's nice. That's nice of you. Yeah.
Yeah, so one of the things I learned from that book was the principal agency, right? So it's when you, let's say right now you have your own company or your own business. As much as you could have like employees, you know, working for you, no one is going to do your job better than, you know, the owner, than the principal. So it's something I've also just learned from my parents. As much as he has agents and other people working for him, in order for the business to survive or the company to survive, he needs to do the most. He needs to go the extra mile. You know, there's certain things you don't speak about, but you just have to do it. You know, you have to pay extra things and, you know, just do the most, because at the end of the day, it's something that you have started. It challenges you mentally, you know, when you choose the path of entrepreneurship, the challenges that come with it to groom you so you could like be that leader. It's tough, you know, it's really, really tough. You have to have a very good mindset, and I'm very grateful to my dad. He has always been this, how can I say, I don't know, business type of minded. He always like trained us. Like I'm so influenced like by him. Even our whole family is influenced by him.
Yeah.
We would play this game. You know Robert Kiyosaki.
Yeah. Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Yeah.
Yes, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So when my father was still doing his 9 to 5 thing, he just saw that like, no man, this life is just not it. You know, and my dad is like a provider. Doesn't just provide for us, but he provides for, you know, his mother's side of the family, because my father's the eldest. So
Okay.
he's just always been that guy. And he realized, I'm like, no man, my father also did engineering as a profession before all of this, right? And he realized like, no man, this 9 to 5 type of thing, it's not it. You know, you can't really, you're not free. People can fire you anytime and just, you know, be in control of your bosses and all of that. Like that life is just, it's tough. And so he was very intrigued with, you know, these big entrepreneurs in America, like Robert Kiyosaki has read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and then he even went to, he invested in himself and went to these seminars where he would pay like, I don't know how much, but it was a lot of money to meet face to face with like Robert, and for them like to train them and stuff. And then he even bought, you know, the game Cash Flow.
I think I've heard about it.
Yes, because you know there's Monopoly,
Yeah.
right? We were playing Cash Flow, right, from a very young age. I think it was during lockdown. I really loved lockdown. My parents were still working as real estate agents before they started their firm. And like during that time, lockdown, right, we were just full on focused playing the game.
Cash flow.
Yes, Cash Flow. So Cash Flow basically, it's basically the economics. It's like the system we're living in. So it's like the circle in the middle. Small circle is the rat race. The rat race is like where we all start, like after, yes. So you choose your occupation. So maybe like, okay, I'm a doctor, you're a lawyer, you know, and then you earn a specific type of salary.
Yep.
Yeah, and then in that race, you know, there's things that happen, like you could get downsized, meaning you could like go to jail and just not earn anything for a couple of years. You could enhance expenses, for example, taxes, like all of those things. And then you also get opportunities with your salary. You could buy shares, you could buy, you know. So we would play that game, and then you just have to escape. And to escape it, your passive income has to be double your expenses. Type of thing. So playing that game, like it's very, I don't want to expect it's too deep.
Yeah, it's beyond us. Right? I'm really,
yeah,
man. We really learn it, right? And I think what Toto can also just, you know, just validate is how proud she is about, you know, her father and how, you know, he raised them. And it's actually nice, man. It's nice to have a person that brings light on that kind of space. So top stuff, man. Can keep going. Top stuff.
Yeah. So I'm not gonna go too deep in it, but then you just escape the rat race, and now you're in that type of world where you just investing in this like now bigger like circle where you could invest in gold mines, you could achieve your goals, and you just keep on buying businesses. And those businesses, they give you other passive income, and you get like a net income that you get every single month. And that's a lot of money, like a lot of money. Out of the rat race, you can come with millions. You can come up with millions, just depending on what your expenses are and how much you want as a person. So I think at the time there were 8 of us. Right? There's like 6 or 7 people who could play, so there would be a banker, and then it's now a competition, right? So my parents would make it a very competitive thing. Who's gonna come out of the rat race first, right? And in that way, we have to work together. There are cruel people. You actually understand that, like, oh, maybe my brother's not so loyal. Like, how could you steal? Because sometimes you could steal someone's opportunity. You know, stuff like that.
It's part of the game.
Yeah, it's like the game of life. It's cash flow. I love it so much, and I would sometimes get emotional because there were times where I was like completely bankrupt and I had to exit the game, like I was done for type of thing, you know. Yeah. But it really gets personal, really does get real. And now that I'm living life, like I'm actually like I'm in the rat race, and it's as much as it's challenging, it's also exciting because I understand, you know, that dynamics and what I have to do and what it takes to escape the rat race.
I feel like, alright guys, even my producer's eyes is like, you know, I mean, man, I'm really grateful to, you know, have this conversation with you. You know, it's really, you know, mind-opening, you know, how you just lay things up and how you just create, you know, proper scenarios and incorporating it with everything in real life. So it's really nice, man, to hear that. And what would you say so far would you say are the challenges that, you know, female entrepreneurs potentially face in the business landscape in South Africa? Do you think there's still, you know, some injustices, inequalities here and there? What's your thinking about it around it?
Yeah, I love that question. Yeah, especially like, you know, as a black woman, it's imposter syndrome, you know. You are told that you're not good enough. You know, there's statistics in South Africa that say that, you know, the black woman is the least employable. Like they would employ like the white guy first, the white woman, the black man, and then the black woman is like the last, and it's like people already look down on you. Oh, you black, you're a woman, what do you know? And so how it has helped me is that I don't like to listen, because you know social media can really just sway you and you know stuff like that. So also I'm a little bit delusional, you know, in a sense of like I don't care what people say. People could come up to me and like, oh, so you black, because a lot of people love to look down or underestimate, you know, black women and stuff, and it could be demotivating for some. But I am definitely delusional. Like I'll tell myself like, yo, I'm the best, yo, I could do this, I could do, you know, anything. Like just it's delusion, you know, like we're not okay. Because I definitely struggled with it. I remember my parents would take me to places where I felt like I'm not good enough. They would take me to serious meetings. Like real estate is a very white dominant, like 97% white dominant people. And they would take me to like these huge meetings where it's just like white attorneys and like maybe we're just dealing with clients and it's tough things, and my parents are like, no, man, you need to take you so you can understand how things work in South Africa and, you know, understand how injustice and inequality actually plays in the corporate world. And sometimes I just felt like I'm not good enough, like maybe I don't deserve to be in those spaces. But I had to change my mind. I had to tell myself that, you know, I belong there. And even sometimes when I would feel insecure, delusion really helped me. You know, I walked in, I'm like so confident, and being there just made me realize that like people are just people. You know, like don't be so intimidated by, you know, someone's title. Oh yeah, I've been studying law for like 20 years to understand how property is, because it really, you get that, like there's this type of energy in corporate, like this, like if you get this superior type of energy from certain people, and like being exposed to those places, thankfully to my parents, I realized I'm like, no, those people are not all bad, you know, and some people are actually not even that smart. You know, most of these people in fact have like a limited outlook in life. Others I do truly respect, but it's like it's just a facade, you know, that they all this and all that. And just me being delusional overall has helped me navigate that situation where I tell myself that like, look, you belong there, and it just boosts my confidence. Yeah.
Yo, right, that's nice. And why, or like, what's the importance of having more and more, you use the term black, black females, in entrepreneurship, and just rooting and really working hard to be in such spaces. Why do you think it's really that important for also our, progression as a racial group?
No, like it's definitely important because you have like people looking up to you. You have what is this? These other little girls looking, and you want to get like a sense of inspiration and see the possibilities of like what could happen. For me, I would say my role model has always been my mother.
Yep.
Seeing her like do all these big things and start something from nothing. Like she brought like so many women together and started this huge thing, and hard work. Like it just inspired me because I says, like, this is what my mom says. I says black people, let me just say them, right, or our family. She thought in order to create something big, or to create like something like an empire, or like
to create a legacy.
Yeah, to create a legacy, or even when she was looking up to people who created McDonald's or the Nike brand or whatever, they were very shocked that it started from people. Like even Sanson, like the two white guys, I'm not quite sure who their names are, that formed the whole Sanson place. My parents were shocked that it was just two individuals with an idea, and they created this. And even Nike was an idea.
I like you mentioning this. I just always get starstruck when I think about these. Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak with Apple. Nike, Phil Knighton's business associates, and even how McDonald's came about, which actually is some guy that took an idea actually from brothers, and he saw a bigger picture of McDonald's than what they saw. So I think that's entrepreneurship, and it's inspiring to actually learn from those stories.
Yes, so with that, like what you said now, the idea, turning your idea into reality, seeing my parents do that, right? Especially, from the past we come from as black people, and now being brought into this, this world and this capitalistic, environment we live in. My parents really didn't know that, so me seeing them explore and find out like, oh my word, my child, we didn't know that our ideas could turn into something so big. And looking up to my mom, looking up to my dad was just so crucial to where I am now. Like I know, okay, with this idea I have, I could actually turn it into something real. I could turn it into something big. So for women like you, dude, I can't emphasize it. It's so important because these younger kids, looking up to you. I look up to my parents, and like it shaped me in the best ways possible. And so there's other girls, younger girls from disadvantaged places, when they see, women like my mom, women like Oprah, that come from nothing, absolutely nothing, and you create something for yourself. It's so inspiring.
I like that. So you're saying the more inflood of, women that we have in these spaces, it calls for others to actually be inspired by that movement. That's really nice. And ladies, I hope you guys are listening. Guys, let's stop this blesser thing, guys. We're progressing. Like on a serious note, guys, we need this, Naledi, to make this country work. We need everyone to play a part. I know that there's men in these positions that are really doing that are really just doing some injustices to women in these positions. But I think it's really good to encourage women to actually push and stand up for themselves, despite and regardless of anything, So so I'm just gonna be tweaking and be a little, controversial, because I heard throughout your conversations you always emphasized or put, value in the term being black and how, what is black to you and what does it mean to you as a person?
Yeah, being black, man, I guess it's the color of your skin, the being black. I think it's, yeah, the color of your skin, your ancestry, bloodline type of thing, yeah, where you originate from, like real Africans, like even like Black Americans, like African, like whatever type of Americans, yeah, that your originality, where you come from, I think like, yeah, just ancestral bloodline. Like obviously I also love having these debates with other people. My brother, like I like to say to him, like, yeah, but they call us black, but like what if you're really not black? Because at the end of the day, like words are associated to like whatever, like it's created meanings. Like for someone to say a tree is a tree, like how do you know it's a tree though? Someone put a meaning to it. Sure. So even the word black, it's like what we've been like associated with. Like I could say that I'm not black, because who are you to call me a black person type of
and thing? I could join you.
Yeah.
Saying that I also don't want to be called black. And it constantly goes, as I said before we set up everything, this is what Toto said, that what's right and wrong on who defines things, like who gets the credibility to define things. And I like that you're actually hinting at that, and I think it's quite ironic of me to now starting to be thinking this way, having read I Write What I Like from Steve Biko, and how Steve Biko tried to give black, a very good narrative, a very good, connotation, as opposed to what it originally meant for people like us. And so I think it's also a thing of raising awareness of that, of where does the term black come in defining African people or people with color. I think people just don't know the history of like where it originates and where it stems from and what it means essentially,
Yes.
So it's really powerful that you kind of said it's where we come from, but at the same time you are able to question, but why am I saying I'm black? Look at my shade of color. I'm not saying, it's a colorism or whatever, but it's your reality when you look yourself in the mirror. It's not like, yeah, my mind. People are gonna bash me for this. I've already been bashed for this. But I like that, man. Sure.
Yeah, for real. This is an argument I had like with like my dad and my brother a couple of like weeks ago. I think during our recess, etc. Right? Like we were talking about the whole thing of like being black. But then like me and my father, we just came to like or sort of like an agreement type of thing of like, but for us to be black, like who decides that like we are black? Like the question asks me like, what is it, to be black type of thing? You as a black person, you're defined. And when you're also speaking just now, it's a whole systematic thing.
Yeah.
Like they just classified, okay,
classification.
These type of people, we will classify them as this, these type of people. And then they create narratives around it.
For
things
sure.
like, racism, that's we now, and then it starts to make sense, okay, so people who look like this will feel or have a certain type of mindset against people who look like that, and it's just everything that is systemized, human-made, creative type of thing. So
100%.
yeah, it's that thing. But like in this economy, South Africa, like I just had to classify myself as a black person. You get those things to take. Are you colored? Are you black? Are you those things.
But like to think about like why, bro? Like if we say we live in a democratic, non-racial country, why is it still an obligation or necessity to, whether it's institutions, banks, varsity, schools, why do we still have to classify and take, okay, now I'm white, I'm black, I'm colored, I'm Igbo? Why is it, why? I don't get it, like why, it's really contradictory, but I guess it's the world that we live in, and yeah, and it's just also raising and shedding light on that, man. I think as much as now we're black, we young, hey, I'm black, hey, whoa. But like as much as we young people, I think the change has to start here, and especially going into June 16. I think it's also really nice to actually break down things about ourselves and change certain narratives, certain definitions and classifications of us, and actually be proud of. Because I don't think people of our color, people like us, African people, define themselves according to pigmentation or color, taken back to history. So nah, man, that's nice. And feminism.
Oh, yeah, so feminism, right? It's the women deserve equal rights as men. That's how I understand it. If a man can do it, then a woman can do it. That's how I understand this whole. But I don't know, how do you define it? How do you find
it? To be honest with feminism, man, I think, to be honest, from my outlook and stuff, I feel like it's quite unrealistic and illogical for human beings to look at it in a way that what a man can do, a woman can do, and what a woman can do, a man can do. I think we lie to ourselves because biology tells us something different, I mean, now, like I'm being honest.
No, I agree
a
with
man
you.
can't be
I
pregnant,
agree with you.
You know.
I agree, yeah.
So, yeah, but my perspective of feminism could rather be saying that within society, women also have the skill set and have the expertise to be in particular positions and actually excel. Despite now doing a comparison with men, I think we lose the essence of biology. Can you just drop it? Yeah.
This is the first time the producers ever spoken.
I think I kept on. I want that. Yeah.
The people are going to be so shocked, but you're actually right about that. Essentially, feminism started off as having equal rights as men, but then they took it further and trying to make them the same biology as men.
Yeah. And how do you do that?
You can't. You can't. Biology itself says it's impossible.
Yeah.
The strongest man will never be the same match as the strongest woman.
I like that. And what Chote is saying, we're not saying we're not, but you can't put us on a same biology scale. Right?
Yeah.
It's unfair for you guys and it's unfair for us. So I guess we share the same, picture on, feminism. And what's your take on what we just both said?
No, I agree with you guys 1000%, I never ever in my life tried to, be like a man or do what a man does, even though I am in this age where I do have the opportunities to also do what a man can do, type of thing, And I've had my brother, in fact, when we had this conversation, so I have a lot of conversations with my brother, right? It's a thing of now it's kind of my fault, when I talk about this 50-50, type of thing, when we have those conversations why do you expect me to pay 50% and you pay, type of conversations, right? Yeah. And in a sense, he would bash me and be like, yeah, but you women wanted this. You women, wanted to do the same thing. So now I'm feeling attacked, when did I fight and do those marches to get equal rights as men? Yeah. I don't believe in it at all. However, I am grateful to have the opportunity to be financially dependent and not necessarily need a man back in the days where women were housewives and depending on the man as well.
For sure.
And so I'm very grateful for this age. However, the thing of I've seen really bad things on social media where even women start to trash men, bad, men are trash, and you know, all these things. And I just,
Hey.
we don't need men like that. That narrative, like, I don't need a man, I don't need a man type of narrative. And I don't believe in it. I believe in oneness, right? I think, like, especially looking at my parents, you know, us as women, we are more emotional. You know, we have like nurturing aspects and characters to us. And then men are more strategic. Men are more, you know, rational. And I think when we work together, we could, you know, achieve like the common goal. You know, it's not this thing of like, it's like a competition. Because, you know, most masculine women are very competitive. Like, oh my word, how much is Lesego earning? I could do double that, I could do, you know. I don't believe in that. I think working together, we have different aspects, we bring different things to the table. And when we combine that, we could like produce something greater. So it's like scratch feminism and like just bring oneness. Let's work together and bring out different attributes to achieve the common goal, you know?
That's what we have. Guys, people, guys, I know this is going to say it's just, but guys, you know, within our groups and what we always now say of how it's rare to find, you know, a very, you know, logical and very enlightened, you know, women and stuff like that. Guys, I think there are a lot of, you know, good, intelligent, bright women out there, and thank you very much, bruh. And I just hope within your social circles you actually encourage people to, you know, promote a proper outlook for you know women and females. You're really bright, and hey, bruh, I'm happy. I'm speechless. I can't even articulate myself in that way. But yeah, in terms of dreams, aspirations, where do you see Naledi after this degree? What's the plan?
Yes, the plan. Where I see myself, that's very interesting, very scary, very exciting because I have big goals. I just see myself, like running a lot of businesses, man. I see myself contributing so much to, you know, other people's lives, having very strong relationships. That's what I'm focused on.
For sure.
You know, I think relationships are everything, man. Just building strong connections with people, being financially free, so I can also, you know, help others provide for their families.
Sure.
It's so sad to live a life where the only thing you're thinking of is like money. What am I going to eat tomorrow? And there's just so much more to life. I see myself learning about new things. I really love technology, so just maybe being more into that space, learning a whole lot more of technology and how the world is going to be in the future, type of stuff. Just a whole bunch of stuff. I see myself very, very far, and also just maybe wiser, you know, like building my, you know, relationship with God, just doing what God needs me to do, doing the right things. As I said, I'm a church person. We have like church during the week and on the weekends and stuff, and just like staying in that lane to keep me grounded and just remembering, you know, where I come from, type of thing.
Marriage?
Sure. Marriage, I don't know, my views on marriage are very distorted. I have very messed up views, on marriage. I don't, that's a very personal.
Guys, I thought you could brag, but hey, son,
I have a very distorted perception on what marriage is. Obviously, my parents are a good example. They're one of those few couples where it's real love, because you find that other couples, you know, the guy or the woman settle for them, and it's really not true love. Like, I've seen that. But my parents, like, it's like my mom has been with my dad during the best and the worst times ever. Like, I know my mom is like proper, real woman, and my dad, you know, is a provider. He's like everything, you know, best dad ever. But for me, myself, I don't know, man, like,
But we bruiser,
Yeah, I have. I no comment on marriage. Yeah. You don't comment. That's the honest answer.
Hey, nah, I get you.
Yeah.
I really get you, and yeah, we really respect that. Yeah, I thought there's something that I'm missing. Before, I think we are surely gonna call you for another episode, but do you think there's just that one question that I'm missing from my side? You think I shouldn't stretch it? Because I have a tendency of stretching.
Well, nah, you can stretch. I don't mind that. But
Yeah, but nah, Naledi, we really had a good time. It was a very fruitful conversation. We learned a lot as guys too. And as I always say, that it's very important that if I learn from you, I also, ensure that within the social circles that I, circulate in and stuff, that I also share these, jewels, or nuggets. Cabello calls it nuggets, man. I always
Yeah.
reference that guy, really have high respect, and yeah, I learned a lot from him. So yeah, just sharing these things so that we grow as people and as a society and as young people, most importantly, to crafting better futures for ourselves and those coming, because some of us want to have kids and stuff like that. So thank you very much for being present, availing yourself, and just being open to shed light on a lot of things that I think also, guys, that we wanted to hear from the female side of things, and we're quite happy. There's progression. Yeah, there's just some transformation happening.
Yeah.
Any additional remarks you'd like to leave? Maybe what you could advise for girls in high school, primary? Yeah, just shed the light on something like that.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you to you, and for including it. Like, I'm so grateful.
We also don't
like-
have our marketing officer, which is Letitia.
she went home.
Yeah, like, thank you guys so much for giving me this, opportunity. Like, I was so excited. Even like a few months ago, I think when you called me and you wanted me to do, podcast, which was very, very excited. Just, my schedule, my life is,
Tougher to reach than the president.
but everything aligned. Like this weekend, I was actually supposed to go home, but my parents had a funeral, so I was like, okay, let me focus on my studies. So everything just worked out pretty well. I think one thing I could say is just maybe emphasize the certain points I touched on when it comes to pain. That in life, there's a short-term. It's a principle I live by, right? That how could I let me try to structure it properly. Short-term excitement, right? Like you could get short-term excitement, like fun, or maybe doing the easier thing now, but then later on it could really impact you negatively, right? Or you could do, the thing that's painful now, right? But in the future, it could really just help you live an easier life. For example, like the ladies out here who are maybe selling themselves for easy cash, it could give you you feel good now, you're happy, you're going on vacations, and it's so sad that there are influencers, out there that are just really destroying young girls' minds, on these vacation things and the gold digger stuff, It's the short-term pleasure for long-term regret, Whereas right now you could suffer now, work hard, study, go through the most, and maybe just sacrifice the luxury things you want to get for now. So you should be focused on building, and all those things. So in the future, you could live a life that's easy, So you could be financially independent and not scarred mentally for life, because in life you're gonna feel pain either way. You just need to choose the type of pain you want,
Yo, man, that's marvelous, magnificent stuff. And I just hope that, man, the ladies and everyone, I don't like categorizing messages for people, As much as those girls could be doing that, there are gens that are contributing to putting them on and funding and subsidizing this whole nonsensical way of life. I know some people use it and they pay studies, I know the whole dynamics, but is it working for our society, or is it damaging us as a youth? I think it's doing more damage than good. So thank you very much for that. And would you like to maybe advertise your the property for your parents? Yeah, thank you for doing it justice. If I may, yeah.
Yes. Oh no, wait, thank you so much. Yeah, it's intellectual properties. It's like our colors are red, gray, and white. You find us on Property 24, and our website is intellectualproperties.co.za. You know, so yeah, you guys can definitely check us out. 100%, you know, black.
I like the sense
100% black, you know. Company. We honestly we serve. We solve problems. That's what real estate is. We solve problems. Most, especially our people, marginalized people, don't know a lot about property, and you know there are really bad agents and bad agencies out there. And you know, I've seen my father, my mother, myself, and our other agents. We just out here to serve. You know, to help. And you know, it's just so much in real estate. Sometimes you feel like with a specific salary you have, you can't get a property. You know, just hit us up, contact us. You can find us on Facebook. We there. We here to help. You know, we're here to serve and assist. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I think on that note, we'll gladly close the podcast. Yeah, thank you very much, Naledi Mokoena.
Thank you.
And it's the golden guy, Claude Mokoena. Thank you very much, our producer. And Naledi is not here with us today, but yeah, thank you very much for the work. You know how we aspire to like being great and putting things together. Thank you very much. And yeah, I'm just thankful if you're tuning in. You know, you could be anywhere in the world, but you just took your time to just spend and listen to young people speak and stuff like that. Thank you very much. And yeah, as I always say, we'll keep on working, keep on grinding, keep on being passionate about our lives. And yeah, we'll see where our heart brings us to and what God grants us with all that. Thank you very much.